So today we have a number of Halloween 2018 NECA Michael Myers in front of us, and I'm going to show you guys the three different versions that's on the market and how to pick out the brand new or the newest and the best head sculpt. This is it. This sculpt is going to be a little bit bigger than the original release. The left half of it, funnily enough, is extremely similar to the Halloween Kills. I would not be surprised if it's actually using the same base sculpt. Either they started with this and reworked this, like this was the base that they used for the Halloween Kills. It is the same size. If you bring in one of the older heads, it is, I don't know if you'll be able to see right off the rip, you might, but it is a little bit different in scale. So when you put it on the body, it makes the body look extra big. Here's the Halloween Kills. It's a little bit bigger, but then if you bring in the new head sculpt, and I'll show you an easy way to tell in box. This is the brand new 2018 NECA on the left, and then the Halloween Kills. Same size, very similar, looks great. Now let's say you go into Target and you want to get the new head sculpt. Here's where it gets tricky, because I originally just thought, since the original release was kind of yellowish and the newer one in images looked a little more white, I just assumed, look at that, it's whiter, it's a different paint job, so I picked it up. Threw the box off to the side until Halloween Kills came out, and then I was going to do a video review. However, I realized they're identical. They're absolutely identical. They're the same. So there was a problem. So I started looking again, and I waited for my Target to do a restock, and I noticed the new head in the restock is a little different, and here's the clearest way to tell. When you get the original release, the very first release, the knife is different. They actually give you, in the reissue, they give you the knife from the Halloween Kills. And the knife from the Halloween Kills has 3 rivets. The knife from the original NECA only has 2 rivets in the handle. And the Halloween Kills is a little bit bigger, but you'll never be able to tell. So here is the original, what you would see if you opened up the original NECA box. The knife with 2 dots on it. Those are the rivets in the handle. Now here is the reissue with the Halloween Kills knife, and it's got the 3 dots. So that's the easiest way. You pick up the reissue, you look at the knife. If it's got 2 dots, it's most likely the original release. If it's got 3 dots, it's the reissue. Now they might have, done that differently in the past. I don't know, because they do different manufacturing runs, but you can absolutely tell. Now we're going to look at another. Let's say you bought it and you took it home and you want to check. Here's another way to check. The original release comes with 2 almost identical head sculpts, but the hair is sculpted different. One has some wild hair to it. If you look, some of the hair is like all over the place, shooting out, and the other hair is a little bit cleaner and not as flared out. Very subtle difference, but the hair is totally different. And the inside of the head has a marking for a number 1, and this has a number 2 in it. See it right there? Well, the new head sculpt is not only identical. Here's the 2 head sculpts, and I'm in the middle of repainting this one, so ignore it for now. The sculpts are completely identical, except for one has blacked out eyes, the other has eyes that are colored, and the hair is absolutely identical on both. So the reissue gives you 2 identical heads, just with one with blacked out eyes and one with eyes that are colored. But the hairs are identical, and there's no number on the inside because they don't need to differentiate. There's no number, and the head sculpts and the hair sculpts are identical. If you look, you can match them up. The way the light is hitting it gives it a little more texture, but you can see some of the things line up exactly. Now, like I did before, I purchased one set And this is what I got in that one set. I believe I got, yeah. Oh man. So this is what I got. I got a this head with the second head that has hair all over the place. Now I repainted, so this must have came natural with the blacked out eyes. On the first figure, I did not want eyes that I could see. So I took the hair off and I blacked out the eyes, but it still kept the wavy hair all over the place. And then what I did is I made it really dirty. I slapped on some blood, but I wanted like a little bit older, dried blood on there, not the shiny new blood on the kills. I touched it up a bit with more fresh, kind of shiny blood. I like that, the way that looked a little bit better. This was when I was, you gotta be kidding me, newer at putting the blood on it. I even touched up the hand because the Halloween kills. This has gotta be, this isn't even funny anymore. Because when you get the Halloween kills, you can reuse the Halloween 2018 parts. Like in the beginning of the movie, he doesn't wrap his hand yet. I added some additional fresh blood and I made this hand a leaker since I now have multiple hands. So I think that blood looks great. So that's for the Halloween kills. And I touched up this guy because when you rebuy the heads, each one has a different level of paint work on it. Now, unfortunately, the very best reissue comes with the worst paint. It has gray from the hair, kind of all over the face. It's on the jawline, it's on the neck. The gray's just splattered everywhere. So I'm going to be repainting this. I'm going to make it a bit more gory, like this guy here. He's got blood going up into his hair. He's just loaded with fresh, caked on blood. I think I'm going to make, leave one the way NECA made it. I'm going to leave this guy in the middle, kind of pretty gory. And then this one I'm going to repaint and make him absolutely gore-tastic. Anyhow, if you want to try to figure out the heads when you pick out the reissue, that's on you. I noticed they are pretty much identical except for some of the molding here is a bit different, but I wouldn't go with the heads. But the heads are the same. The tombstones you get, they're pretty much the same, and I'll show you the scale of the heads in a minute. Let's just go over what comes with them. Here's my first two. Here's the very original, and then here is the what I thought was a reissue, but was a repaint. Maybe I should clarify that. When they first released the 2018, they did this yellow tinted aged head. They did two of them, different hair, and they have one with blacked out eyes and one with eyes that are colored in. Then when they did the reissue, I'm sorry, not a reissue. They re-released this guy, but they repainted him. When they did the re-release repaint, that's when they came out with, just so I have this right, this is the original release that NECA did. I bought him day one. I repainted this guy, made him a lot dirtier. And I knew I was going to pick up doubles because I wanted to do really different repaints. Then I picked up the reissue repainted, but not the new sculpt. And here's what he looks like. This is with the eyes that are colored in. On the version that has the blacked out eyes, I just made him a little more. This is just not even funny. I made him a little more dirty, a little more aged. I like having a Myers head that's pretty dirty, but you get the idea. He's all white. They don't have that yellow weathering. So be careful of the repaint. That's why you must look, in my opinion, for the knives to tell. And then finally, when I picked up the reissued head, this is the one I'm in the middle of repainting, but this is how it looks. This is the one that comes with the eyes blacked out and with the eyes filled in. Now, when you take the body, I was in the middle of showing off the accessories. I'll save the rest of them for last, but just to finish off, the tombstones are almost identical. Some of them I've seen people have really dirty tombstones. That's just, it matters on what the factory did when they were running it. So the tombstones barely even matter. They're pretty friggin' good. Anyhow, even the pumpkins as well. Somebody said that their pumpkin, you have to hold it down to get it to light up. But my reissue is the same. It's identical as the previous releases. You press it in. Wait. You press it in and it stays in. This has a tab in it. And it'll stay lit and flicker a little bit. But even if you take the tab out of all of them, here's the tab out, press it in, and it'll stay lit and do a little flicker. And then just put the tab back in if you are going to store it a little bit. Just to show you I'm not lying, take the tab out and bam. You don't have to hold it in, you just press it. So I don't know if someone got a broken one, but that's not something that I encountered with mine. But let me show you what he looks like. His legs are stuck a little bit. I should hit him with heat before I go standing him up. Let me take this. I got to hit him with a hairdryer. That's the absolute best way to deal with fickle joints. I'm going to show this guy off. I repainted this outfit. I'll show him off in a separate video. But we have the Kills body and we have the new re-release body, and I'm going to show you the difference. Let's take the Kills body and pop on the Kills head, and you can see the proportions are really good here. All right, and I added the hands on the bodies just to show you, because we're going to do a comparison for the hands. The bodies are identical for a base. Now, this is 2018. Here's the Halloween Kills. The bodies are absolutely identical for a base, and then they went in digitally and they resculpted the damage, and then they just did a slight repaint. So it's a good comparison, even though, just to let you know, between Kills or whatever. Now, it seems like for people that have the original, it seems like the body is fatter on this guy because he's got that smaller head on. And the proportions are a bit better here because the head is scaled a little bit bigger. And you can even tell. Now, what happened was I tested them together, and the bodies look pretty identical. Even did a little measurement, and they're pretty identical. I think the body, they did do something with it. They slimmed it out just a little bit. However, if you take the reissue head and you pop that on, you get a clear visual of the difference. Let me just pop the reissue head on. Here's the first one, and you can tell side by side. There's definitely a size difference between them two. Even the hair is like the biggest giveaway. You can kind of see like this little mountain of hair, and look at that mountain of hair. These two heads profile, you can see it in a big way. It's definitely scaled differently. Now let's take the reissue. There's something wrong with this damn leg. I don't want to jack it up. But let's take the reissue and pop him in the middle. And you can immediately tell the reissue fits a lot better with the body. And that head being scaled up a little bit bigger matches really well with the Halloween Kills, especially for scale. Sideways, look at that. I mean, it's a dead ringer. That is great. The hair might not be the same exact sculpt. I don't think I even looked at that. Because what they could do is they can use it as a base and then start with this and then tweak it digitally to get to this. I don't think that's what they did. It doesn't look like that's what they did. But scale-wise, it absolutely fits. Let me get it so it focuses. Yeah, you see the scale? That absolutely fits. Yeah. And then here's the very original release. And it might be hard for me to see it in camera, but you can see how the scale is a bit off. Especially the hair, I think, is the most noticeable. But it's kind of hard to do on camera and not in person, just because if one of the figures, if I set them like an inch this way or an inch forward, it throws the scale off. But hopefully you can see what I'm seeing and see what I'm saying. There's definitely a difference. Now, I was really impressed with the NECA. When he came out, I was kind of a little bit interested in grabbing NECA movie characters. I know someone sent me a Jason a couple years before that, and being a Friday the 13th fan, I thought that was pretty cool. I was getting Predator figures at the time because Predator is a movie monster I loved. So when this released, I picked it up, and I was really impressed with it for a cheaper, I think it was like 25 bucks at the time, a cheaper version of Michael Myers that's 3D. It's not a poster. You got switch outs. You can throw a knife in his hand, a hammer, a fire poker, set him up by your movies, and boom, there's a Michael Myers knick-knack. He's got a bloody, gory hand, or you can put the different hands, knife, you know, anything. And it is friggin' awesome. But now that they have the reissue, I don't know. I highly recommend, because I see a lot of people say, nah, it's just not worth it. I'm just going to keep my original and call it a day. And I feel you on that, because no one wants to rebuy a figure. But the correction they made, and they don't talk about it. I don't hear them talking about it. The corrections they made are absolutely well worth it, in my opinion. Sometimes the old sculpt, there's sometimes where the light catches it, and I'm like, man, I wish they would have just got it right from the rip, and we would have got the old sculpt in the right scale, just a little bit bigger. But then sometimes I catch this new sculpt in the right lighting, and I'm really impressed with it. Anyhow. So this is it here. This is the reissue. The body also appears to have a bit of, yeah, again, it's 30 bucks. And it's in Target, Walmart. It's a toy. It's categorized as a friggin' toy. It's in the adult collectibles, but you know what I'm saying. It's like a toy. It's not a statue. It's got articulation. It bends. It moves. You could buy it like a toy. So for something like a toy to look this good for a movie collectible, it's affordable. It looks great for the price, for the size. You can, because NECA makes other horror characters, you can have, I know I got my lot. This is where I do a lot of writing. So I got my horror characters here. It's just a temporary setup. But I had my horror wall. I'm packing for a move coming up. Whoop, dropped it. But NECA makes, Pennywise, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Ghostface, Chucky, Tiffany from The Bride of Chucky, and Sam from Trick or Treat. Now they got Krampus. So he's absolutely worth getting. And like I said, the repaint they did on his coveralls, I think, is even better. They added a little more of a dollar blue. They added a little more paint. Here you could see this shininess. It's because what it is it's molded in this blue plastic. And then they hit it with black in some of the shadow areas. Like they hit it with black here. They hit it with black here, black here. And it's to kind of like make the lows low and the highs high. And then they hit it with this blue. And that's what gives it that look. However, for the newer one, it looks like they hit the whole figure or more of the figure in that blue. So what it does is it really tones down that shine from the light, and it looks more like material than the original release. I don't know if it picks up on camera good. Sometimes the arms don't hold it as well. Yeah, you see how the shine comes from the arm, and then it just doesn't have that here. At least in person, that's how it looks. The reissue with the body, however they repainted it, and then the scale of the head, for me, it's a win-win. And again, everything else is the same. If we look at the knives, the knives is going to be different. I'm recoloring that. What am I talking about? I'll go in close, but like I said before, the knives have 2 rivets in the handle, and The new one has 3 rivets in the handle. It's the same one you get for Halloween Kills. And if you put them side by side, it's actually a little bit bigger. The handles are very similar, I think almost the same size, but this one is just a touch longer. Let me see if I can, you see it? It's just a touch longer. Maybe it's better if I put it down. I mean, you take my word for it. See what I'm saying? Just a hair longer. Anyhow, again, 2 for the original release, 3 for, I wonder if I said that enough. And then the old hammers, this is pretty much identical. The first hammer I got had a nice wooden look to it, like an old hammer with some dried old blood on top. Here's one of the reissues that just had a little bit more weathering. That's fine. And then the blood on top. And then here's the very new one that has more of a darker wood handle, less different tones in the actual handle, and then the blood on top. And here's one of the repaint that I got. It's all warped for the fireplace poker, and that one's identical as well. It's the same skinny, you know, what's the metal? Cast iron, colored the same. And then when you get to the hands, here's where we get a little bit of a difference. A little warning, be careful with the wrist pegs. They are skinny, little tiny pegs. I was just being quick for the video, and I ended up seeing how the peg pops out there. Well, I ended up just completely exploding that peg. So I was kind of hoping it just popped off, but it's broken. That's not the peg in there. That's like the hinge in there. That's actually the new body. What I'm going to do is pop off this forearm here, switch it with this one, and then this is one of my bonuses. So I don't need it right now. Later I'll fix it somehow, or just get a permanent right hand to attach there. I'm not really picky with it since I've, you know, an extra body. Anyway, when it comes to the hands, they're pretty much very similar. Let's see if I can show you. I did some repaints with a little extra blood on the regular chillin' hand. I just dropped it down here, but here's what one of the other previous releases looks like. If I can find that same hand over here. It might be just easier to show it off like this. So one of my first releases, the left outstretched hand, they still did a good job with the hand, but then here's one of the repaints, a little bit better job making that blood stand out, and the flesh color was a little more natural. The other one looked kind of yellowish, the first release, and then even better with the re-release. It's kind of got shading with the blood here, giving it a little bit more of a dried look, more faded around the edges. So here's the absolute re-sculpted, I don't know what to call it, the improved version. Now here is one of the first left, more open hands, and you can see the same thing going on. Better skin color, better blood work. Here's what one of the repaints, my doubles, even better than one of the doubles. It's going to be hard to see some of these hands. And when it comes to the right hand, here is, again, same thing going on. Better blood work. This is the reissue. Let me go up a bit. Yeah, the blood looks kind of, yeah, definitely an improvement with the blood application. This is the upgraded 2018. Far better blood work. So that's the right hand. Here's the right hand doesn't count on one of my old doubles because I did that myself. I made it extra blood dripping down. I like that blood in between the fingers and whatnot. It's got a good look to it. Here is the 2 old. I think one of them I tapped a little extra blood on there and on the pinky because there wasn't a lot. So you can kind of see the original one I bought still has that yellow tint to the skin. The color got better. Sorry, my big old fingers are in the way. And it's even better yet with the reissue. This is the upgraded one. Let me grab one of the other ones to compare. Definitely better. And then we have the, this is the very first one I got that I redid myself. I made it really extra bloody. The blood work was good. It was a little bit dried, dark around the knuckles, but I made it extra gory so it can go on to the Halloween Kills one and be like the beginning of the movie. But here's what it looks like from NECA, where you can see a little bit more of the meat and whatnot. See the meat in there, and it's screen accurate. If you watched it behind the scenes, they did a great job. And then here is the upgraded 2018, and they did an even better job showing the meat there with some blood on the hands. They made it tan and less yellowed, and then better blood work. Yeah, look at that. And then finally, this bent hand. Here's the original two I got. I think I added some blood on the fingers there. So let's use this one. And I can already tell the reissue far better with the blood work on the back of the hand. And again, I apologize. These are hard to hold because they're so little. Yep, I knew that was going to happen. But you guys get the idea. Anyhow, here is the head one last time. Far better than the original release that came with it. Now, again, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, man, I like the sculpt they did. But if I can only pick one, I would go with the resculpted head for 2018. Again, far better. Look for the knife. That's the telltale sign. Last thing I'll say is I know the bottom of the box, for some reason, one says 20. And I think the newest one actually says 21. I don't know if that's a way to tell too, but I would look for the knife, or you could check the barcode on the box. But here it is. NECA 2018 improved head. All right. Thoughts and opinions down below. Sorry for the long ass video.